Hey, in this video, I'm going to show you how to build a YouTube content research system that lets you find high-performing video ideas for any number of channels in your niche. You could sell this, but you could also use it for yourself for building your own personal brand and doing content research. My name's Owen. I'm a software engineering director with 15 years experience building and scaling software. I help people build AI systems that make money and save time. All right, so let's take a quick look at the system design for this automation. Whenever I build a system, I like to think of it in these key parts. We have a goal. We have a number of ways to measure the system. We have inputs, we have a process, which is the sequence of steps inside the automation, and then we have the outputs. And if we think about the system we're going to build today, the goal is to find high-performing video ideas, and maybe some sub-goals as well are to find high-performing video titles, and also to create a database of competitor videos as well. And so in terms of the inputs, what we're going to give to this automation is a list of channel IDs. These are going to be YouTube channel IDs, and I'll show you how you can find those in a second. All right, and in terms of the process, what we're going to do is for each channel, get a list of videos and save them to a database, including statistics like view count and number of likes. And then in terms of the outputs, what we're going to have is a database containing a list of video titles and the number of likes plus views for the video. That's it at a high level. So it's a pretty simple system. I'll just show you what this looks like. This is the automation that I've already built out, and we'll build this from scratch. Essentially, what this does is when we run the automation, this could be triggered manually, but it could also be run daily. What we do is we get a list of channels, and then we get some statistics about the channels. So, for example, we get the number of videos, we get the number of subscribers, we also get the total view count for that channel. And then for that channel, what we do is we go and get a list of videos. So we get a whole load of information about each video. So for example, we get the channel title, we get, for each video, we get statistics like the number of likes. Okay, and so what we do is for each video, then we get the title, a description, and some other metadata as well. And then we do another call, which is to get video statistics. And what we do is for each of the videos, we get some statistics about the number of views and the number of likes. Also the number of comments as well. Once we've done that, we run it through a filter because we only want to get maybe most videos that have been published in the last, say, 90 days. And then we store those in a database. The database is going to look like this. So essentially what we have is the channel name. We have a list of YouTube video titles. And then we've ordered this. We have the number of likes and the number of views as well. So this is a pretty simple database. We also have this configuration here for the channels. You could hard code this into your automation, but what I like to do is collect all of the channel IDs that I'm following, and then I can choose which ones I want to do research on by toggling this select box on or off. All right, so let's take a look at how we build this automation then from scratch. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new workflow. And then the first thing we're going to do is set up a manual trigger. This could be like on a cron if you want. You could run this every day. And the first thing we need to do is get a list of YouTube video channel IDs. So if you go to YouTube, the way you do this, let's find a channel. So Graham Cochran is a pretty big YouTuber. Let's take a look at his channel. And if you click on the More button, and then if you scroll down and if you click on Share Channel, you can see there's a button here to copy the channel ID. So I'm going to copy that channel ID. And let's start by actually just what I'm going to do here for the first run is probably hard code this. So I'm going to set the channel ID. And I'm just going to set that to the value that I copied here. And then if we test this step, we get the channel ID. So this is the configuration for the automation. I'm going to call this configuration. And then what we want to do is think about the database and think about what we want to store. So what I'm going to do is create a new Airtable database from scratch. So let's do that. Let's create a new database. Let's click on create from scratch. We're going to call this YouTube. YouTube research agent. We're going to rename this table to be videos. And we're going to delete all of the fields that are here. All right, and so for the primary key of this table, what we're going to have is the video ID. And this is going to be a single line text. It's just a string. And then we're also going to have a video title. Let's make this a single line text, video title. Then we're also going to want the number of views. So we're going to have a number. We're going to call this view count. And let's have another number field. We're going to call this like count. And it looks like we can also get the comment count as well. So we can also add one more field here, number. We're going to call this comment count. All right, so this is going to be the structure of our database. I'm just going to quickly change the color to be something better. All right, so now we have our database. What we want to do, I'm just going to save this as YouTube Assistant. And so the first thing we're going to do is go to the YouTube node. And we're going to get the actual channel. You can see here there's a whole bunch of options. But let's start by actually getting the channel. I already have a credential registered. You're going to need to go ahead and create a credential if you don't have one. It's pretty straightforward, but you will need to configure your auth. And we're going to get the channel, and the channel ID is going to be this, which we can pass in from our configuration. So let's see what information we can get. It looks like we're able to get a load of information about this channel. We have the title. Just high-level information about this particular channel. And then what we want to do is rename this. So we're going to say get channel. Now, I'm not actually sure whether I need this information yet. I think I probably do want the name. So when I look at this, I think what we want is probably the channel name, which is the channel title. Then what we want to do is get a list of videos. So let's go back to our YouTube section, and then we want to say get many videos down here. We're going to get many. You can set a limit for the number of videos you want to return. I think we should make this a configuration option. But what we want to do, we want to add a filter, and we want to add a channel ID. The channel ID is going to come back from your configuration down the bottom. So this is basically saying go to YouTube and only get videos for this particular channel and get 25 of them. The other thing we might want to do is order the videos by date. So we can click on the order field and then order by date, because we want to see them in logical order. So this has managed to go and get Graham's latest videos. You can see here you get the video title. So we already have quite a lot of useful information. If we were to build a title generator, this would be super useful. If you're building an AI model to come up with YouTube titles, one of the best ways to do that is to get a list of really high-performing video titles and kind of have them as examples or references for a GPT or something like that. Definitely something I'll be building out myself. Okay, so now we have the videos. Let's rename this to be get videos. So now we have the channel information. So we have the video. So we have the channel title. We have a list of videos. But what you'll notice is we don't have the metadata. We don't have the number of likes, comments, etc. here. I think we can do this in one call. I think I was previously doing this in 2 steps, but presumably, okay. So we need to get a list of videos to get the video IDs, but then we need to do a separate call just to get the metadata about the video. So the way we do that is we create a get video operation. So let's do this again. We go to YouTube, we go to get a video, and the video ID we're going to pass in from the previous step. So this is the video ID from get videos. So for each of the videos we get, we're going to run it through this node. And the fields we're going to collect are just these statistics, because we only need the video statistics. Let's test this out. Okay, perfect. So it's gone through all of the videos and we've got the view count, the likes, the comments as well. So now we have everything we need to basically build the simple version of this automation. So I'm going to rename this to be get video statistics. And now what we can do is we can put these back into our Airtable database. So we've got our database here. And what we want to do now is populate that database. So we're going to go to Airtable. And we are going to say create or update record. The one thing we want to do here is every time we run this automation, we want to make sure that we're not adding the video multiple times, which is a common problem with these kind of automations. If you're rerunning it many, many times, you don't want your database to be filled up with the same video information. You only ever want to add it once or update the information. So we're using the create or update operation. The base is going to be the YouTube research agent. And the table is going to be videos. And we're going to match on the video ID as the field. So essentially what we're saying is every time we add a record, check if we already have the video ID in the table. If we do, just update it, but don't create a duplicate record. So we're going to match on the video ID. And then what we're going to do then is just populate all of the fields that are in our database. So we're going to copy the video title, which is from down here, get videos snippet.title. We're going to add the view count from here. We're going to add the like count from here. And then we're also going to add the comment count as well. All right, so now when we run this automation, we should, with any luck, be populating our database here, over here in Airtable. So let's take a look and see if that works. All right, so record must include columns to merge on. Okay, oh, we're missing this for some reason. So let's add this video ID. Let's add this video ID. All right, so here you go. You can see the database is now filling up with video titles. This is all looking good. Let's delete these first three empty entries. What we didn't do was to add the channel name. So it's going to be quite confusing. If we're researching multiple channels, then we're going to need to have the channel name. So let's go and add that. What I'm going to do is add a field. So I'm going to click on Insert Left. And we're going to have a single line text. And we're going to call this channel name. So let's go and fix that in our automation. We now want to add in the channel name here. What we want to do is refresh. And then the channel name is going to be the get channel snippet.title. So this is the channel metadata. We want to put the channel name here, and let's rerun this step. And what it should do now is only populate the channel name, essentially. All right, that seems to have run. Yeah, looks like it's working, taking a while for it to come through. But now we have the channel name. All right, so this is looking good. We have now a database which has all of our kind of competitor video titles. We have the number of views, the number of likes, the number of comments, which is brilliant. We can obviously look now to see what the most popular video titles are. So we can sort this now if we sort it by the most popular. So the most popular video for Graham's channel that we found is this one here. So stop launching, the truth about why evergreen selling. makes you more money. So 2,000 views. So this is good. So I think one more thing we want to be able to do is support multiple different channel IDs. So let's go and add the ability in our automation to customize the channel IDs. There are a couple of ways you could do this. You could actually do it in the configuration and hard code it. But what I like to do is to have it inside Airtable. So we're going to add one more table, and we're going to call this start from scratch. Let's call this channels. And as always, let's go ahead and delete these fields. We don't need them. All right, so we're going to have the channel ID, and we're going to give the channel a name as well. Channel title. And I'm going to add one more field, which is this selected checkbox, which I like to use. So we can say selected. And let's go ahead and add in a channel. So let's copy this one. So the channel name is Graham Cochran, and the channel ID, if you remember, we click on more. We can copy the channel ID. And we can mark this one as selected. Let's click here and delete these fields. So now this is going to allow you to add multiple different channels to your database if you want to research multiple different competitors, essentially. So what we need to do now is essentially, rather than use hard-coded configuration, we're going to delete this and we're going to add an Airtable node. And we are going to search records. We're going to search for this table down the bottom here, which is going to be the YouTube research agent. The table is going to be the channels table. And what we can do here is we're going to add a filter. So I think what we can say is selected equals 1, which is essentially a shorthand for whether the field is selected. I think that's correct. Let's check it out. I think I've added 2 sets of brackets. I think we only have 1. So I think we say selected equals 1. So let's try that. Unknown field selected. Let's go back to our research agent. Selected looks correct. I think I have a quote. All right, so this is a bit difficult to get right. I think I had an extra quote. All right, perfect. So this works now. So essentially what we have here is the select box. If we take that select box off when we run the step, we should get nothing back. This just allows you to keep a large number of channels, and you can essentially run this automation then for any particular channels you want. So let's go and add one more channel just as a reference. All right, so let's go to Matt Gray. It's the first one that came up. Let's go to Matt's channel. We're going to call this Matt Gray. We're going to add it to our database. And then we're going to copy the channel ID. Copy channel ID. And let's store this in our database. So now we're able to research multiple channels. And if you remember, one other improvement we could make here is to configure the limit on the number of videos we return. We're only returning 25 at the moment. Before we do that, so let's rename this to be get channels. And then this here, we need to pass in the channel ID from the previous step. All right, so let's just run this. And then the channel ID, if you remember, we were hard coding this in configuration before, but now we're pulling it through dynamically. So we need to put the channel ID in here. And let's just double check there's nothing else broken in our automation. So let's run this again, end to end. All right, as you can see here, the videos was also relying on this hard-coded configuration. So the channel ID needs to come from here. All right, that's successfully executed. So now we should have videos for both of these channels in our database. And as you can see, we do. You can see here that we have a mix of different videos. You can obviously filter this, but you can get multiple channels into your database now. So we have a really powerful research resource. We have a large database now of video titles, and we also have all of the metadata about the view counts. So this is a really powerful and useful research for any of your content ideation, any of your competitor research. You get a whole load of information about what makes a good YouTube title. You get to see which videos are performing well, and you get to see what your competitors are also posting videos about as well. So this is a really powerful tool. All right, so just one more thing we're going to do to polish this. We're going to have a configuration node. So if we go to Edit Fields Set, I always like to have a configuration field with any kind of automation. It's best practice if you're building any kind of software or automation. It's always best to put your configuration into one place. If you're building software, then you'll generally have a configuration file. But in the case of an automation, we don't have that. So you can use this Edit Fields node as a way of managing your configuration. We're going to add a field here, and we're going to call it video count. And what this is going to be is essentially the number of videos we get for each channel that we're researching. We want to make this a number. And let's make this number 50, which I think is the maximum you're allowed. So for every single channel that we have in our database, we want to pull back the top 50 videos. And then when we go to get videos, we can pass in this configuration. You can see here there's a limit option. And what we're going to do now is we're going to get that from the configuration video count field. It's just a nice way to make this automation a little bit more manageable, because all of your configuration is now in one place. You don't have to work out where in the flow it is. Another really useful tip, which is worth being aware of, is that N8N added this really fancy button down here, which just basically allows you to tidy up your automation. All right, so now we have everything we need. I think there's a couple of things you could do to extend this and make it better. One of the most useful things that a tool like N8N offers you is the ability to see a multiplier field. So the way you think about that is you can average out the videos for a channel, and then you can think about for any particular video, how well did that video do compared to the average. That's something we could build in here, but I think I'm going to skip over it for now just for the sake of time. But that would be a nice addition. All right, so we've built our automation. We basically have everything we need all working. We're now able to collect a list of competitor YouTube channels. And then for each of those channels, we can gather up all of the information about their videos, the titles, and the number of views they had. We can also add in a filter here, which is quite useful. So I'm going to add in a filter. And what we can do is maybe we can filter out videos that were created recently. Maybe we don't want to go back and get videos from sort of 12 months ago. So one way we can do that is to add a filter. And so what we're going to do is find the video publish date. So you can see here the video published at. So let's pull that into here. And then the filter is going to say is after. And then we can put in an expression here. So we want a dynamic expression that basically encodes a date that was 3 months ago. All right, so the way we're going to do this is if we click on the expression field, we're going to open up two braces. And what we can say is now, which is the current time, dot minus. And then I think we can say 3 months. So essentially only get videos that are 3 months old. So now when we run this step, rather than getting 100 videos, we might get slightly less. All right, so this didn't work. So this top field is obviously incorrect. So let me just fix that one. Publish at, get videos published at. Perhaps I was using the wrong field. So let's test this out. All right, perfect. So as you can see, this filter did its job. We didn't keep all 100 videos. We kept 46 of them, which were published within the last 3 months. And then we discarded 54 videos, which were published before that. This is just useful because you only want to get videos that were published recently. Just a final tip. One of the bugs I can see in this automation is it's quite common for YouTube titles to have quotation marks inside them. And the API returns these as HTML escape characters. So this title doesn't look quite right when you read it. And the reason being is this is essentially it's a code that represents an apostrophe in the title. So we can fix this. And the way we do that is to use a JavaScript function. So let's see if we can fix that. So when we have the video title, what we can do is we can say let's get the title dot replace all. Then we're going to paste in that character, and then we're going to pass in an apostrophe. And let's just test this step. So essentially what we're doing is anytime we see this kind of funny ampersand 39 character, we're going to replace that character with just a quotation mark. All right, pretty close. Something isn't quite right here, so I think I've done something slightly wrong. Let's take a look in a second. I think I'm leaving in that. I'm leaving something in. So let's take a quick look at this again. All right, so I did make a mistake in my expression. I was missing this character here. It's quite hard to see here. But again, what we're doing is we're just replacing this ampersand hashtag 39 semicolon character with just a quotation mark. So let's test that again. All right, perfect. You can see here now we've actually corrected the title. So rather than those kind of HTML escape characters, we now get a proper quotation mark. That's quite a common thing that you find in these YouTube titles, and it'll just fix that issue for you. These snippets or these little functions are really, really powerful for things like that, kind of cleaning up the data. You don't necessarily have to use a code block within N8N. You can just use these expressions and they work pretty well. I hope this video is helpful. As always, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.